Sup, bro? And welcome back to this StarCraft Best of 5 IEM Cologne Germany Grand Finals between Acer's Nerchio and LG's IEM MVP. And that's when you zoom in and you show the awesomeness of the graphics. You can even control F on this SUV. Look at the way he's using his fusion cutters. A brilliant worker. So anyways, in game 3, we saw MVP go for a very greedy fast third base off of 4 Hellions. And we didn't see Nerchio punished at all. We saw Nerchio basically just play the same style he played in game 3. And that really didn't work in game 2, sorry. And that really didn't work out for Nerchio. MVP was playing a totally different style in game 3. So I think that Nerchio should have done a bit more reacting. Done a little less of the creation of spore crawlers when his opponent is going a ridiculously fast third, and we can't be sure that he's going Banshees. We should confirm that with an Overseer. You know, I feel like Nerchio needs to play more greedily if MVP is playing that greedily, or he needs to punish, one or the other. So Nerchio going for the 15 hatch. Once again, MVP going for the command center first. This is going to be the map Metropolis, and I will say that this map is very I don't want to say I hate this map, but I think that the map, like, sort of, it coerces players into playing a late game style. Because in the mid game, unless you're all-inning in the mid game, it's really bad to attack, because the rush distance on this map is just so massive. I mean, you have to come all the way over here, and now you're halfway. And then you come all the way up here, and you finally reach the hatchery of your opponent. I mean, it's just ridiculous how long the rush distances are. And plus, the way the expansions are laid out, like, basically none of the expansions that you're taking are closer to your opponent than your original base. So, like, look at this natural for Nerchio. And now look at the third. That's even farther away. And then the fourth and the fifth are pretty much the same distance as these two bases, if not a little bit farther, because, you know, you have to walk across the map. And add on top of that the amount of counterattack paths. I mean, there's basically 4 big counterattack paths. Your third can be attacked here. The natural can have a very wide entrance if these rocks are killed off. And it just makes for a very passive mid game in general. And then when you get to the late game, it gets passive too, because you know what? Why do I want to move my late game army out as Zerg? My Broodlords are really, really slow, and I don't have creep all the way across the map, so it's just not a situation that I want to be in. And I'm glad it's not a map that we see in ladder play, because I think it's a very one-dimensional map. Okay, now out of MVP we have a 2 racks. Now this isn't an aggro 2 racks. This is like just a way to secure this command center first. Basically, you go command center first, and you get 2 racks right away. Then you get 2 gas, and you also can get this third. That's basically sort of the shell of this build order. And you can switch with the order. You could get the gas first. You could get the racks first. You can get the orbital command third. When people first start learning StarCraft, they assume that you have to follow the build order exactly, and you have to, like, write down the build order up until 80 supply and follow it precisely. But you have to keep in mind that StarCraft is not a concrete game. It's not a game like that, where every game is going to be the same. Every map is different. Every player plays a different style. Even 2 pros who use the same build order until 20 supply could have totally different ways of doing that build order at 30 supply and 40 supply, and they could do totally different stuff depending on what the same thing that they see out of their opponent in the same situation. So build orders are really just for beginning players. But once you get into that master-ish level, I would not recommend just blindly following build orders anymore. It's good to know. It's good to be able to blindly follow a build order. It means that you're macroing really crisply. It means that your execution is really good. But you shouldn't blindly follow what pros do when you're a really good player, because you need to figure out at some point what is the reasoning behind what these pros are doing. And so for that reason, I would recommend all high-level players get a bunch of replays from the same person doing the same matchup at the same time. And find the games where they're using the same build order, and then go through those build orders and figure out, okay, he changes this right here. Why does he change this? And just try to figure out every possible detail. What is the reasoning behind that? If you figure out that reasoning, suddenly you have an understanding of the metagame. You have an understanding of why pros are playing the way they are. That doesn't mean that you can play the way they are, because their actions per minute is really high. Their execution, their micro, their decision making about the way they move the army and position it. You can't dream of being at their level if you're a Masters player without practicing for a few years. But you can at least understand the decision-making process. And with that decision-making process is valid even at lower levels. So I've kind of just been talking about my sort of thoughts about the metagames and how to play and build orders and stuff. But now I'm going to just talk a little bit more about this game. Now, basically, we saw a fast marine pressure out of MVP. He wanted to see if he could do any damage. He didn't do too much damage. He managed to pull back a couple of marines, I believe. And now Nerchio is taking control of the watchtowers. Nerchio loves roaches, man. This guy is all about roaches. Like, think about the games we've seen out of Nerchio. He's just been absolutely making a ton of roaches. Like in Game 2, he made a bunch of roaches. In Game 3, he made a bunch of roaches. Now in Game 4, he is making a bunch of roaches. And this is the game that Nerchio needs to win. He needs this game to win. And he's still making roaches. So there is something to this. Nerchio thinks that this roach-centric play is valuable. And I'm not sure how it's going to stack up against these styles of MVP. I mean, I'm sure Nerchio has figured out how to deal with every kind of terrorist style with this roach-centric play, but Marauders absolutely decimate roaches. Even for Marauders, with all of these Marines to take shots from roaches, and roaches don't do that much damage to Marines, these Marauders in the back are going to do massive damage if Nerchio decides to engage that. So he needs the Roach Ling. And it almost looks sort of like that Nerchio is using a Zerg versus Protoss style. I mean, the third base is a bit slow, and he takes gas a little bit early. But look at this. He's going Ling, Infester, Roach with Ling upgrades. Whereas MVP is going for pretty much a straight-up Marine tank with a couple of Marauders and Medivacs. The couple of Marauders are basically a reactionary unit to these Roaches. Now, Nerchio has plenty of units prepared for this drop, so this drop is just going to pick up. Or it's just going to stay here. I mean, he does not need to do anything with this drop other than deny these two bases. So, since there's no base to deny, he doesn't have to do anything with that drop. He can basically just leave it over in the corner and check on it later. So what do we have out of MVP? Really nice saturation here. You could use a better SUV saturation over here, actually. I'd be a fan of taking a couple workers and sending them over. Alright, and a big pressure coming out of Nerchio right now. He's made a ton of units, and he has taken a very late fourth. It is also undefended, so this drop can come in. That's a lot of Lings, and they've taken a lot of damage from the tanks. Oh, I think Nerchio could have done with a flank. It would have helped him a lot in this engagement. And he's throwing down some fungals, but it's not hitting that many units. He needs to be throwing up a lot of infested Terrans to support his other ground units. And MVP has totally defended this amazingly. He's lost only some tanks. The medevacs overhead are still alive. And he's even going to pick off a couple more infestors. Meanwhile, this drop has killed the 4th base, and it is not going to do anything here. The links have come in. But you know what? MVP has made his 4th base. It's sitting here in his 3rd base, so he can just turn it into an orbital, and whenever he feels like, float it over here. And he can set up tanks here. He can set up tanks here. He can put a planetary fortress right there. Put a planetary fortress right there, and he will be in a great position. He can keep doing drop-heavy play until he sees corruptors or mutas out. He scans. He knows the timing of the hive now. It's a relatively fast hive, especially considering this 4th base is not even up yet. And out of Nerchio, I would love to see a double expand at this point, because we've just killed off a lot of units of our opponent, and we know that he's not really going to be able to push right now. He can do lots of little harass like this, but we do have a good overlord spread next to our main, so we know that we're not going to get dropped. And this medevac is just going to try and head on home. I think there's going to be nothing to deny it. So, this version of the map with the creep tumor is actually Zerg, a little bit more Zerg favored, because if Terran is trying to take these island bases, they have to kill the creep tumor and then wait for the creep to recede. Now Nerchio has reacted to this pretty well, and MVP is just gonna pick up. MVP is a player who's very, very conservative with his units, and I'm not saying like Rush Limbaugh, Mitt Romney, Paul Ryan conservative. I'm also not saying like he's playing like a tightwad or anything. He's basically just really good at keeping his units alive, and that's so useful because he doesn't lose that much. Oh, and he's unsieged. Oh man, that was like an anti-timing right there. That was like the worst possible timing to unsiege. And Nerchio with a huge advantage right now, and this might be what Nerchio needs to come back into this game. He's at 192 supply. He has a big Roachling Infestor army, but the upgrades are so scant. I mean, oh no. I don't know if he can do it. The upgrades are just not that good right now. And sure, the Roaches are really beefy. He needs to be throwing up tons more Infested Terrans right now. Oh my god, he has all this energy he hasn't been using. And yeah, look at what happens, man. These pressures just aren't working out because Roaches just don't do that well against Terran. And on top of that, they're not well upgraded. And he hasn't even popped over here to see if there's a 4th, has he? No, he hasn't. Meanwhile, drops coming in. Oh, attempting to kill that Greatest Fire, but he does not get it. What's more, the Queens had a couple of transfuses, so the Queens could have definitely saved this, even if it was a lot lower in HP. Losing an Infestor, he cannot afford to lose any Infestors right now. He's trying to save up gas for his Broodlords right now, and he doesn't even have the gases established at these 4th. I mean, Zerg needs to have 8 gases if he wants to play Hive Tech. I mean, you can't expect to replenish Infestors and get Corruptors and get Broodlords and get the Tier 3 upgrades. I mean, on just 6 gases, that's not really going to happen. Now, this is totally a hatchery killing force right here. 3 Marauders. So great at killing hatcheries. Here comes a big pressure out of Nerchio. He's got a bunch of lings in this 4th base, but he's not going to manage to kill much. It's just the fast Marine Marauder timing. Plus, I believe the rally's right here, so it's not that far from this 4th base. Now Nerchio denying this 5th, I mean, but there's no 5th command center that's ready to take that. I mean, the command centers are being built over here, so that's not really going to help Nerchio that much. A bit of money piling up for MVP. He's starting to get to that point where he's going to be maxed and he's going to want to start pushing. I mean, he's got 2 attack for his siege tanks. He's got Hunter Seeker Missile on the way. He's got his Ravens building up energy. I would love to see a faster 3-3 attack 3-3 upgrades out of MVP. A couple of SUVs hanging out. And so you can see that even MVP's play is not ideal. It took him a while to get up these Terran infantry upgrades. It took him a while to get up these command centers. And another huge Roachling pressure coming in out of Nerchio. And this play is actually, wow, big fungals coming from the back. But honestly, this is all gonna die. This is all gonna die off. Nerchio's still going over there. He's gonna burrow his roaches. I would not be surprised. And Nerchio just playing such an aggro style on this map. I mean, I'm really surprised by this. And look at the superior upgrades. I mean, for a lot less units, this is able to kill a lot of stuff. And Nerchio, man, you gotta see this coming. You gotta see that coming. Unburst the roaches. Ooh, I like that little play right there. That's really annoying for Tyrants to deal with. And MVP even on the center tower. It's in a really safe location. What else we have going for MVP? We've got 3-3-3 on the way. Looks like he's going to start pushing. I think that he might arrive with this push slightly before the 3-3. I mean, it's still 2 minutes away, basically. What does Nerchio have coming? Wow. Nerchio has almost nothing. He's got these lings and these 3 infestors, and that's it. He cannot afford to lose these lings. This is basically all he has. Oh man, I just don't know about Nerchio. Deciding to go for these roach ling attacks. Oh baby! Nice job by Nerchio there. Able to move the oh god, his lings. Trying to separate out the ones that are getting targeted. I like that. And meanwhile, this massive spread is coming in for the bio. Oh my goodness. And Nerchio being so mannered. And MVP wins this best of 5 in 4 games. The only game he lost was an all-in. The 3 macro games were indeed victories for Nerchio, which just goes to show that MVP is still the best Terran player in the world, and he is a force to be reckoned with. Even when other Terran players are having a lot of trouble killing Zergs, he finds a way to do it. And this is really one of the reasons that it is so scary that people like Flash and Jaedong and Bisu and Stork and Fantasy and Effort, all of these guys from StarCraft 1 Brood War are coming up. MVP was one of those guys. He was like the first really good Brood War pro to start dominating in StarCraft 2. And sure, there were other really good Brood War pros who haven't done as well in StarCraft 2. Like, for instance, let's think about July, who was absolutely dominant for some periods in StarCraft 1, just using super aggressive play. Or let's talk about, you know, Nada, who was like one of the most winning players of all time. And did he have a lot of success at StarCraft 2? Not so much. He didn't work as hard. But if these StarCraft 1 Brood War players are as good as MVP, and there's like 5 more MVPs, it's looking really grim for all of the other players in the scene. I mean, I would say that there's probably 5 players who can consistently beat MVP out there right now. I mean, Marine King Prime can probably do it. DRG, MC, like a couple of players. And so if all these Brood War pros come in and essentially double the amount of players that are in that super elite bracket, it's going to be really good for StarCraft 2. And all of the Brood War fans coming over could be really good as well. So it's a really exciting time. And I cannot wait for Heart of the Swarm. It's going to be so awesome with all of these guys going full cylinder. It's going to be great. So props to MVP. That was my lecture about Brood War pros coming over. And I am really excited to see if MVP can come back. He's had a lot of health issues. Can he come back to that dominating form that he has achieved multiple times in the past? We'll have to wait and see. But this is a great example of how dominating MVP's play is. Thanks for watching these series of mine, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I'm going to put a fake video 5 in here so that hopefully you don't get spoiled by the other ones. And I hope that you enjoyed. Check out my channel for more. There's going to be a lot more games coming up. And subscribe.